And so it begins.
Shall we begin?
So it begins. And now it begins.
So it begins.
And so it begins.
And so it begins.
Shall we begin?
Shall we begin? And so it begins.
And so it begins. And so it begins. So, shall we begin?
So, it begins.
Shall we begin?
Shall I begin? Shall we begin?
Shall we begin? Shall we begin?
Hello there, everyone. It has been a while since I have done a live stream, but I'm kind of in the mood right now. I'm going to finish watching Season 2 of Andor pretty soon, but Black Angus Reviews put out a little video. He has not watched Season 2 yet, so this is a Season 1 based response here that he's rolling with this video that he made. He and I have gone back and forth on Star Wars stuff over a long time. Big back and forth, big old back and forth. I am a lover of Andor, the show. I was very surprised that they would make a good show out of a spin-off character movie that like nobody cares about at all, but they still happen to make a decent show. There's huge discussions on whether or not like Andor is canon, if it's good, does it fit with Star Wars, all these different types of ones. A lot of people don't think that, a lot of people will admit that it's a good Star Wars, that it's a good show, but not a good Star Wars show and whatnot. He's responding to Tony Gilroy and like something that he said in regards to Avengers. I have not actually seen what that is, so that's partially why I'm interested in this and feel like, why not? I got some spare time tonight, so I'm gonna do a little bit of a live stream. Why not? What's up, Lord Hester in the chat? Hello, what is up? I've got my comments pulled up on the side here so I can respond and take a look. I'm getting back into some live stream mode. Why not? It's been a little while, a little rusty, but it is all good. I got it pulled up here already, and we're just going to start going into it. Let's roll.
Despite having a billion-dollar film and a prequel show at the cost of $650 million, Andor has only one point of infamous notoriety thus far in the galaxy far, far away. Because of the lackluster impact of the series, Andor, Tony Gilroy, for some reason, took to Slash Film to cope and seethe over 2012's Avengers.
All right. Interesting, because I thought Avengers was
hey guys, welcome to Black Angus
good.
Review.
So, I'd be curious to see what he has to say about that. I mean, considering what it is, but I know that there's been like Martin Scorsese had a take on like Marvel being kind of like a roller coaster of movies, not really ones that have too much depth, more of a thrill ride with not much thought going with that. But what does he have to say about the Avengers? I don't know. But Angus's look here, I don't know. He might be trying to. He is possibly doing a video just to piss me off. Possibly. Get under my skin specifically. We'll see.
They were talking about Star Wars. I know. It's a long time since I've done a Star Wars specific video.
Yeah, same
here. But I
same
just
here.
came across this and I had to talk about this because
you did? Did you?
You may have heard of this show, Disney Plus, called Andor. Star Wars Andor. And the writer, Tony Gilroy, he's gotten a lot of flack this year for the second season. Probably saw Star Wars series cry about it.
By the way, I thought is kind of bizarre, especially when I didn't watch it right away when that came out. I've only seen the first 3 episodes of season 2 anyway. But when the episode 3 came out, and everybody's talking about episode 3, oh my gosh, there's a grape scene in Star Wars, all this stuff, oh my god, and it's like just the dude attempts to touch her face, and then she hits him. They fight, and she ends up killing him. Like, to even call it that type of a scene is like a huge stretch, if you ask me. There's got like people could just interpret it as he just, maybe he was making his moves on her, failed attempt, and got killed for it. I don't know. Doesn't seem like a big deal to me. The tone seemed to fit with what Andor's already set up already, so I don't know. I'm shocked that it had that much of an impact reaction from so many people. It just seemed, if nobody reacted that way, I would have just in general, when I saw it, just thought of it as like okay, that was sane for her. I mean, in the last season, she got tortured, like super mind messed up with the little device, so she's like still recovering from that, and so that's kind of what I assume they're gonna do with her character and having this sort of situation happen. So I don't know. It didn't seem like a huge deal. I mean, Bix is like a or Bix. I don't know. I keep on saying Bix, but could be Bix. It's just a character that's just going through a little thing. I don't even like her all that much, but whatever. I think a huge overreactions over that scene.
Pontificating over if I guess I got a YouTube safe essay in any form is okay to show in Star Wars.
We gotta watch our words, because
kind of
YouTube
exposing
is
how feminist
words.
they all are intrinsically on the topic, and also how ignorant they are on the context and subject matter of Star Wars. When you have various characters, Leia, Ula, and nameless people in brothel stuff that are either prostitutes or in that type of service under force of some kind, like Leia and Ula and others.
Yeah, Jabba had quite
And
a
I
few
didn't
little
really think much of it.
dancers and whatnot.
I think the show is a really good show that doesn't belong in Star Wars, and not because of the subject matter. And to fully address that really quick,
Thank you.
Anakin saves his mother, or attempts to, and she dies once he actually finds her, and then he slaughters the Sand People, Tusken Raiders, on Tatooine. The implication, the visuals, it all lends itself to Shmi Skywalker being an SA victim. And even if that's not, she's just getting like tortured.
And I had
the visuals alone are,
and a new thing.
highly
I got a new computer and a new mic, and my mic somehow with the audio, it just like will sometimes funnel in white noise into there. So now I think I'm good. I'm checking my audio, and it should be good. Okay, my audio is better now. Okay, good. Just double checking. A little annoying. Anyway,
adult in nature, I would say.
talking about
As a kid, I never picked up on it. It's like, oh no, he took his mom, tied her up. But anyway,
yeah,
I
exactly.
just wanted to
Totally got
quickly address this drunk
by
Andor,
the
all right?
Tuskens.
But that's really
Yeah.
all anyone's talked about. It's a show that is not groundbreaking for the narrative of Star Wars. It's interesting. I think it is brilliant in the idea of like really showing what war is in reality within the sci-fi context. That war is gritty. There really is no good and bad. It's a lot of shades of gray most of the time.
Okay, I agree.
And the good guys get their hands dirty. We can pat ourselves on the back for our involvement in Germany in World War II.
Just realized that my alignment with my camera and where the reaction thing is not lined up properly. I'll fix that for future stuff. I just set that up right before this and didn't really actually look at what that is. So now I know.
But look what we did in Japan. Just,
quirky history.
We can kind of wash our hands clean because we're the saviors, So I think that's the real nature of war, not this black and white cookie cutter. And I would say it doesn't work in Star Wars because the narrative we're given. Obviously, Luke Skywalker and company, the rebellion, are terrorists, at least in the eyes of the government,
in terms of
the empire,
the government law. Yeah, sure.
But they are the heroes, so it's kind of confusing. It's one thing to do the prequels and show a lot of gray characters in this World War One. How did we get here? Kind of war leading into this more bifurcated, defined World War II of the original trilogy. But when you're trying to tell us nuanced Game of Thrones, gritty gray world of politics and war,
Fun. It's good.
Doesn't really mash up well. I think that's the real shortcoming. Now I'm front loading all that because besides that essay conversation, which was not even any bit sexually gratuitous anyway, also it's war. This is a common factor of war through history.
Not wrong.
I don't really see why people were so hung up on it. If anything, I thought it was maybe too tasteful, it's too refined to even
could have been way worse. I agree.
Be a point to film for this adult Star Wars show.
It could have been way grittier.
I
could have
say
been
adult
way
because no kid
more
fucking wants to watch Andor. If they watch it, they're wanting to see lightsabers, or wanting to see clone troopers and stormtroopers and
Mhm.
robots shooting and battle. They want spectacle.
I agree. That's
and
what
no
kids
kid's
would
gonna
like.
fucking-
That's what I liked when I was a kid. I would replay the Attack of the Clones Geonosian fight scene plenty of times over because I loved the battle sequence. Even the factory with the Geonosians and stuff, and Anakin and Padme were fun as a kid. Those things did get my attention a lot, and I would say I would agree to his point here in terms of films. Like, if you're going to make a Star Wars movie, you should probably have, the lasers, the lightsabers, the force. You should have all those elements in a movie because of the spectacle. People are going out to see these on a big screen displayed all in front of you like that. That's where that stuff would definitely need to be. Now, I would say a TV show is exactly where you don't specifically need all of that stuff. I don't think you do. You really don't. And this one is obviously not aimed for kids specifically. It's on a family channel of Disney, sure, but the tone is obviously aimed more for adults, and its substance matter, its context, the way they speak about things with each other is meant to be for adults to take in more so than kids. Which the fact that it's going that route in and of itself, I think, sets it apart from the other shows that Disney has tried to do. I mean, Ahsoka and the Acolyte are ones. Kenobi. I guess a lot of the shows try to act like they're serious, but they really, really fail entirely, and they don't do it well. And it's just a lot of goopy crap with a lot of those. But Andor actually succeeds for the most part. There are areas in Andor that are kind of like, okay, what are we doing right there? It was a little dumb. There's some stuff in there that's kind of dumb. It's in the beginning of season 2, right away with the TIE fighter thing. That was just kind of one of those like, oh, why'd you do that in here though? Really? Why you did that? Some of the stuff that was on that forest planet was a little weird, but that's all right. That's all right. Are you in the chat now, Anguloid? Is that right? Uh-huh. Can't live chat on Google Window? Well, that's weird. Don't know why not. All the stuff should be on. I don't know if that's a restriction on your end or on YouTube's or my end. I don't know. But
can
I'm going
put
to
up with
continue
this
hearing
show.
what you got to say.
Sorry to tell you, unless they're
See.
just a super nerd for Star Wars. Now, I say all this because in the news now, we have from the direct, Andor creator, that's Tony Gilroy, reveals honest reaction or reason why recent Marvel movies are failing. And this just really shows how this article is going to show you how high on their own supply a lot of these creators are. Even if they're good, the smugness at what has kind of taken the forefront of entertainment with the MCU has really affected the whole system for the last decade. Love it or hate it, it's really set the mark. And I would say there's definitely some downgrades, but it also leads us to way greater heights creatively to strive for. And these people like Gilroy and Scorsese, they get their foot in their mouth crying about it, and then they end up failing. And they're just railing at what people like now, in some instance. Obviously, TikTok and whatnot's a problem. The way we consume, the fact we say consuming instead of like, oh, I enjoyed a movie. All these factors are at play, but there's definitely a smugness from these artists. Maybe they deserve to have that, but I would say they need some humility, obviously. All right, so it's from Kevin.
I mean, maybe a little bit, sure, but I feel like in general, not enough creators in Hollywood comment on each other's films in any creative way. If anything, I think it'd be funny if a lot of these creators had their own YouTube channels and were commenting on each other's films or something, giving a little critique, like, "Oh, what do you think of? What do you think? Have Tony Gilroy's reviews of the MCU." That would be funny to see, or some other creators, Scorsese and other directors and whatnot, looking at other filmmakers, some of their work, and maybe have it the other way around, or some of them who have made some of those types of films to do the same. Look at some of these other ones and see, okay, is your stuff that you've made, is it all that high and mighty? Let's take a look at Andor and see how well that is and compare. But we'll see what else you're getting at, Angus. I see where you're going. Let's see.
Kleinfeld
I see through you.
at the direct. Tony Gilroy has some choice words about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, nailing exactly why recent Marvel movies are not working. The creator behind Disney's Andor series shared his honest thoughts about why recent Marvel movies are failing to resonate with audiences.
I mean, a lot of them
Tony
fail to resonate because they're written rather poorly for the most part. A lot of them are visually disgusting, just complete total eyesores of just it's not just the amount of CGI in the films, it's the amount on screen moving around at once that just looks disgusting. Even if there wasn't something that was CGI, they put something over it that just makes it visually more disgusting or whatever. The amount of the lack of taking it seriously at all just kind of really just it just is like, come on, can you try to take it a little bit more seriously, even if it's a lot of even if it's like 80% goofball. There's not even like 20% seriousness in a lot of the MCU films. So just yeah, not great. I mean, that's part of it. That's just my opinion, but whatever.
The man behind both Andor and Star Wars Rogue One is coming off the release of the critically acclaimed second season of his Diego Luna-led streaming show. The Bourne Identity writer has not been shy about working within the franchise entertainment machine, speaking his mind about canon, fan reactions, and how it all plays into his crafting a story. Gilroy's frank comments have not been restricted to the world of Star Wars either. Showrunner has recently been quoted discussing his honest opinion on the MCU. These comments come at a time when Marvel has been under severe scrutiny, with audiences turning on the super-powered brand for the first time in its nearly 20-year history. The conversation with Slash Film, Gilroy opened up on why the MCU has faltered in recent years, saying they ultimately come down to, for lack of a better term, getting the disc, which is a problem he wanted to avoid when working on Andor. Says, in the show, it's perfect. K2SO's late introduction was something I always intended. The versions that they had of the show prior, they were slick and they were interesting. They're not bad, but they had a fatal flaw. It seemed to me, which is if that's your show that you're going to storm the Citadel in the pilot, what are you going to do in episode 9? What do? You're just going to keep getting the disc? He specifically noted how this was an issue in 2012's Avengers and the other MC movies, where the story in his mind is ultimately always driven forward by a superpowered treasure hunt. He said that if all you're doing is chasing a box, the Tesseract in this case, it's not narratively interesting in any way. He says trying to get to the, what do they call it? I can't remember the name of the box. What the fuck is the name of the box in Avengers? What the fuck are they going for? The Tesseract. That's why all those Marvel movies are. That's why they fail. You're just constantly, if that's what you're doing, then you're doing it just to try to get the Tesseract. Gilroy's latest work in the second
the Tesseract wasn't like the main source of their conflicts throughout all the first phase of the MCU films. I mean, yeah, that was in a couple of them. It's mentioned a few times, but like leading up to the Avengers anyway, to the first Avengers, and then the rest of the Infinity Stones play a part. I mean, give the MCU a lot of their, crap for when they're bad, but I mean, that is one of the things that they are well known for is like setting up a multi-story thing without it being direct sequels to each other like that. They did that decently. I mean, could it have been done better if we could like go back, having learned stuff that we've learned since then? Maybe, but I don't know. I'm not sure what Gilroy is saying here because I'm thinking about the show Andor as it is. I mean, he didn't. I know that he worked on Rogue One, but I don't know how much input he had on the overall making of Rogue One entirely. But I mean, that alone, that concept was to lead right into A New Hope. A New Hope is where we know that we're going to get to. We know that's the final point. So, like doing a prequel, he's trying to build things up to that, which a lot of people will say is a waste of time because you know what happens. All these different types of things that a lot of people don't want to see in prequel stuff. But his goal with the prequels is to try to enhance the moment that we have already seen in a way. If you can make something exciting or like logically add up to what leads into that and not ruin it, then that's pretty good. So far, I think he's doing that pretty good with what I've seen with Andor so far. I know that the Death Star stuff is going to be like the main focus for season 2 based on what I've seen so far in season 2, that the Death Star is what they're going for, which so the end of season 2 is going to lead into Rogue One, which leads into A New Hope, if you think about it that way, which I think is a decent way to try to do a prequel story. But I'll see how they execute it in the rest of season 2, because again, the way that you do it can kind of suck. I mean, in Rogue One, there were some decent ideas in Rogue One, but it was not very good. Was not very good. There's a few. Again, there's some things in it that are okay, but I remember hating the blind monk who like hits stormtroopers with sticks and is really dumb. Jyn Erso, just not a great character. There's just a lot of stuff in Rogue One that was just like, what the hell is going on? When Saw Gerrera is like torturing some dude with a tentacle creature, it's just like, what are we doing? So I don't know. I'll have to rewatch that one of these days, especially after Andor, which I thought is funny too. That they changed the Rogue One cover with to have Andor's face on it. That's kind of funny. But anyway, back to Gilroy's comments on the MCU here.
Andor Disney Plus telling the gripping tale of telling the gripping tale of Diego Luna's casting Andor in his beginnings, working within the Rebel Alliance. His show has been critically acclaimed, with some calling it one of the best takes in the iconic sci-fi franchise ever, elevating it beyond what many know it for, giving a deep HBO-style treatment to the galaxy far, far away. Again, I think that's cool. I just think it's really fucking boring. And that's
You're
such an odd
wrong.
thing. I love slow burn films. I love boring movies. But okay, here's the thing. Aside from the boring nature of it, and I think going way beyond political nuance that Lucas would ever play with himself in the Star Wars universe, Star Wars is two things. First and foremost, story about fathers and sons and the relation, the legacy, all of that. Sins of the Father obviously is a huge narrative trope in Star Wars. Anakin and Han Solo into Kylo Ren. Sins of the Father, or it's about just fatherhood. So you get even surrogate fatherhood with Qui-Gon and Anakin initially, Rey and Han Solo, Luke and Obi-Wan. There's a repetitive nature of like father involvement or lack thereof. That's a big thing. And then secondly, arguably more at stake, more substantial narratively, I was maybe lore and whatnot, is the cosmic fight of good and evil. Star Trek's about like this interpersonal politics and exploration. Star Wars is about the grand concept of good and evil, and its fight for control or supremacy, and the agents that can wield its power, and how will it affect them? Will they stay the course of the light, or will they falter? Those are the two elements, and you don't have either in Andor. That's the other huge drop off.
Well, I mean, just right away, I feel like you don't need to have that in Andor. I mean, I get what he's saying, where the elements of fatherhood and sons, sins of the father, all that is a big element with Star Wars. But does that need to be present in if you make 100 Star Wars movies or shows, does that same element need to be in every single one of them? I don't think so. And same thing with his other point about there being light and dark and the overall scale of the universe and stuff. Does that need to be like present in every little detail of a show or a movie that you do? I don't think it does. Like, especially if you're doing one like Andor, that isn't it's not the main case. It's not the big cookie. You're not following the main people of the main story that we follow. We're taking a look at side characters essentially and their part that they play in the overall story. We know about that stuff that's going on already. We go into it. That's kind of the nature of where we are in the universe anyway. This is just taking a look at some of the other people that are in it that don't have the force and all that, which I think is a good thing to do. That's part of what makes it stand out. It doesn't have flashy light. You don't have a lightsaber sound and people going, "Oh my god, the Force! Oh my god!" The Force is cool, but I'd say having it not in a show makes you miss it. You want to see the Force at some point again, and maybe if they had the chance to do more seasons, like they were going to have like 5, maybe there would have been 1 or 2 or something scenes where something like that happens, but used extremely sparingly, maybe. Like that would be, I think, acceptable. I think that even Angus would agree that having it in very sparingly a focus in the show would probably make it get a lot more people's attention to it, at least, I guess. Or if somebody's lightsaber was in it, even if it isn't ignited, but it's in the show, that alone would probably get people's attention for some reason. To me, that's not like enough. I'm just like, oh, that's great. Anyway, let's go with the story that's going on and the character stuff that's good and the world that we're in. That's more what I would say is good. But
It's like Boba Fett's cool, clone troopers are cool, blasters, ships, pod racing, Andor force chase, the arena in episode 2.
sure,
All these
sure.
elements, visual elements, and fun of Star Wars, it really doesn't matter. You're not there if you don't have those talents. And that's what Andor's missing. So it's really funny this guy's talking about he doesn't get the core of Star Wars. He's making cool thing with the label of Star Wars. So it's really frustrating. But also, like, I just had this interesting conversation yesterday with Rookie about Civil War, where it's like we're 10 years removed from that movie, and it's still like I find new nuggets and depths and interest, and something's missing in hindsight with some of these talks, but it's a personal story. There's really no progression aside from like, hey, we got Spider-Man rights now. There's no progression for like trinkets and Easter eggs in the Civil War film. And then you get like Infinity War and Endgame where you get like full consequence. So I don't get what these people like Gilroy and Scorsese want to go after Andor. It's really annoying, to say the least, and I just don't think they get the context. And also Avengers.
Angus in the chat says you want to see better Star Wars, but you're phrasing it as better Star Wars when it's like, no, you want to have you want to eat the sugar that can stimulate your brain for a sec, but isn't actually like the real stimulants. It just goes, oh, that was good. You get just a little sugar high, but you need to get the actual substance. You need to get the meat that Andor provides, the healthy steak that you need to take a big old bite into, not instead of the sugary cereal that's not going to be good for you overall. Just a flash of a lightsaber. Wow, now it's good. Like I want to put a scene where Andor ignites a lightsaber for 3 seconds. Whoa, what does this do? I don't know about that. Whatever. And then people would probably somehow, for some reason, think that the show is really good now, and that is not good if that's the case. If something like that would excite people, like when Luke shows up in Mando season 2, it's like that. That doesn't do anything for Luke or anything at all. It's really lame. Could have been built up in some way. Could have made more sense overall. Could have been interesting, but they don't. So yeah, just flashing some little like keys in front of me is not really gonna do the trick. Doesn't make it better.
Loki wants the Tesseract for plans with Thanos. Ultimately, it's the Space Gem or the Power Stone. Can't remember which one. But so it's MacGuffin for Loki ultimately and Thanos. But for our heroes, this is like, hey, don't let this get in the wrong hands, and they have to like form this group to begin with around this problem.
Yeah, they're still figuring out the
and you get
in the first
all
place,
these
still forming their
interactions
teams.
and problem solving, and that's the entertainment. Like I don't. You not get the you not get what they're adapting. They're adapting fucking paper cartoons from the 60s and taking it seriously to some degree.
I agree with your point here.
It's just, I don't know. It's really weird.
At the Avengers, yeah, I agree with your point.
Had to go on that tangent. Anyway, Gilroy, is he right about the MCU? Gilroy's Marvel movie takes will almost certainly rub some movie fans the wrong way. obviously me. His comments are inherently controversial, calling it the mega movie franchise for being narratively simplistic. Again, I just kind of argued, yeah, that's ultimately comics are
I mean, I think it's fine that it's
superhero
simplistic,
comics
but I would like
is
there to
like,
be a more in-depth
hey,
thing
I found this
as well.
power. I want to do good. And someone's like, well, you could like rob a bank and pay your student loans off and not be in debt. And then it's like, should I do that? Or actually, I'm going to fight people that do that because they're cutting the line. They're cheating the system, and I'm going to stand up for the little guy. That is superhero. That's it. That's all you need. Any extra depth, Dark Knight, this like huge philosophical ideas. It all needs the underpinning of the simple. I'm a hero.
I
Or
don't know
hey,
if they make like a pretty good show where they have it, a little more in depth, take it a little bit more seriously, have it be a little more intimate, have it be a little more gritty, have it not really be in the fantastical world that the MCU has created with all these superpowers and all these abilities and flashy lights and weapons and aliens and stuff. I don't know. That'd probably be a good idea. Oh wait, Daredevil, Punisher, shows like that exist in the MCU that are pretty darn good. Angus, you know this. You know this. You know the truth, Angus. You know.
hey, fuck you.
Even they are trying to make their Andor, Angus. And I'd say pretty well. Pretty well, maybe even better with Daredevil and stuff. Just saying.
I'm going to be the bad guy. What's the point?
Mm.
or at best gets nuance like Dr. Manhattan or Conquest or some realm like that of a power guy. It's like, what's the point of any of this? This fight is juvenile. Anyway, this of course comes from the man behind a Star Wars series and Andor that has been calling this narrative complex character studies and franchise entertainment. While recent MCU movie plots may be the issue with the franchise that it seeks to reach the heights it once did, is much more complicated issue than that. The idea of Marvel fatigue has been a topic in the industry for years, dating back to the lackluster theatrical output from Avengers Endgame. What? It made $2 billion. What are you talking about? Okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
Recent quote
Endgame.
unquote
You and I
failure of the
disagree
MCU
on
likely has to
this,
do more with
Angus. But
oversaturation than anything.
Endgame was not very good. It was entertaining. It was flashy. It had a lot of people in it that people wanted to see. It had just oh, look at that type of moments. Oh my god, nice, whoa, some moments that made people coom in their pants. I'm sure, but it like if it could have been done a little better, a little like oh my god, the way that they have the final battle, that could have been done a little better too. The way that goes, that'd be nice instead of it being this hodgepodge. Just bang, we're bashing things together. Oh my god, probably would have been a little better. Maybe that's me over calling it that. It's not entirely what it is because there are moments in the end game fight that is good. Stuff with Spider-Man was pretty good in there, and that's pretty much the only thing that comes to mind in the end game battle. After not seeing it in a while, the stuff with Spider-Man was pretty good, and then Captain Marvel shows up there. The one moment where she kind of looks like she's not a horrible character when she shows up on screen for a sec, but then the women scene is right after that, which was cringe. Of course, everybody knows, but yeah, okay, that's different tangent for a different time with Endgame and stuff. But
Thing.
you disagree on that?
I feel like Gilroy isn't even aware. He's kind of in a Chris Nolan situation. No one was able to make the Batman he did because they did the 90s Batman. Not so much Forever. That was a good hit. Mixed feelings, but overall success. Good feeling coming out. Batman and Robin was just, no one wants this. Failure. And it's because they tried to merchandise every aspect. They tried to make merchandise to then make that a plot in the movie. They completely reverse engineered themselves into debt.
Well, I mean, that's not the worst thing that can happen because I mean that's how a lot of shows did stuff back in the day. I mean that's what Transformers, Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers were. The shows were essentially just a way to sell toys. So that doesn't mean that it's going to be shit, but it depends on how they execute it, which apparently was not very good.
And the same thing with Star Wars. Star Wars gets to a point to take these daring risks to make an Andor type of show, because you get this onslaught of garbage. It's like, hey, we're gonna rush out, and then Solo happens, and it kind of makes them have to rethink everything. And that's why I've been floundering ever since after episode 9, barely crossing 1 billion. They don't know what they're doing, and even Mando, they've lost the narrative flow with Mando. Like they're going to take another swing at it with the films, but this is how you get someone like Gilroy even getting the job to make this. Like, who asked for Andor? Who wanted, like, I need more Cassian Andor stories.
Well, dude, it's
What?
obviously he didn't. It's not like he was like, you know what? I just want to have a random character that's not very popular and just have his story. Like I think he had to pick. I think maybe he had to pick one that wasn't super popular and famous, or maybe other directors already had their name, their dibs on Obi-Wan and all these other characters to play with. So it's like, okay, who can I mess with that's in Star Wars? What chess piece can I play? And then he selected one that would be a little bit more of a challenge to work with. But he was like, okay, maybe there's something I could do there. Okay, maybe there's something I could do there. And he tried with this. So I don't know. It's not. I don't think it was just as simple as, yeah, we definitely need more Andor for the character, especially when he was introduced in Rogue One. Like nobody cared about him. That was pretty much what he was known as, the guy that nobody knows or cares about, before anybody knew his name was Andor. Honestly, or like the name stuck at all.
Okay, like
But
he
now think
doesn't
about it
even
like
realize
this,
the gift he's
Angus.
been.
Now people extremely know of Andor. Extremely know of him. Very much in your head, whether you like it or not. He's in your head. He's in your brain.
Given
That's
thanks to the catastrophe with Lucasfilm. Let's see. The push into TV created an overabundance of Marvel content from that even Marvel Studio. Feige has regretted pursuing, and with things looking rather wayward early on the ongoing multiverse saga, this is when many people started to fall off the MCU train. Now, though, with some momentum coming off of Deadpool and Thunderbolts heading into Fantastic Four and Avengers movies, there's hope among MCU fans that the franchise may be able to recapture its former glory and prove people like Gilroy wrong. But yeah, so sorry I meandered. It's been a long time since I made just a straight, hey, here's a topic, here's an article, whatever. It's not my forte necessarily.
not my forte either. Me do.
But yeah, obviously this really sparked some conversation with me. So I hope you appreciate the raw, unfettered fandom aspect.
And I get your point, Angus. I do. I definitely do. But I still just don't agree. I mean, you say that they want better Star Wars, the other shows that are in there, it's because more people like them or because they've been successful. But they're not better quality. But we do agree. Angus and I have argued and talked things in the past, and one of the things we do agree on is that if they did have like Kenobi under Gilroy, maybe we would have had like a really good freaking show where you have Obi-Wan Kenobi, you get Anakin back, you get whatever characters you need from wherever, and maybe we could have actually had like a really good Kenobi story, especially like his character being a Jedi, needing like he's in that type of spot where Gilroy and the way that he writes probably would have made for a really interesting story, and whatever you wanted to tell with like Vader and everything too, like that could have been really good. Building the rebellion kind of stuff in that area as well, it could have been great. I don't know how well he would have liked to have only like 6 episodes or 8 episodes like they keep on having for most of the shows. I don't know how he's able to get like more episodes the way he did. Like he's able to get 12 for each season here. Like that's kind of crazy because I mean back in the day, of course, there's like 22 episode seasons, but nowadays with streaming, with each show being around an hour long, they have it be usually about 6 to 8 episodes for some reason, which is fine because I think you could tell a good enough story in that amount of time. It's pretty much like a longer movie or a couple movies within that length of time, but still, I don't know. So that was me reacting to Angus's little video there about this with Gilroy's comments. So Gilroy's comments specifically, like with in regards to the MCU or the Avengers, I kind of thought that there was going to be more of his actual commentary in there, and I thought it was going to be a little bit more in depth or something as like a critique. It would be interesting to know what he thinks overall about the MCU, or maybe not overall, maybe specific movies that he thinks are what ones would he consider to be the best movies in the MCU and why. He would probably argue though, like that it gets confusing because of how many different threads there are and what's the main goal in some of them, and then some of them they drop their goal, they set things up that don't go anywhere in some of the stuff, but I'd still say, like, at least leading up to the Avengers, they did pretty well with that. Setting each character up, setting the one goal up, and having Loki have his desire and what happened with that. I think that was done well. The way the characters interact, come together, everything. It, it's become a huge iconic thing, which Angus does have a point in terms of like it lasting longer with people, it being something visually that people are going to reference for a long time. I'm thinking of the shot in the Avengers that pans around them while they all assemble and the aliens are gathering around them to attack. Like that's something that's going to be in our brains forever. But I don't expect a show like Andor to even have that because most of the other shows don't have anything like that either anyway. So it doesn't matter. I don't think you need to have that in a TV show. In a movie, totally. In a show, not so much. You can tell whatever stories you need to in the show. If they bore people, I can admit in season one, it feels a little boring at first, but if you keep on watching, it makes the rest of the stuff that you watched before become unboring because you understand why it was important to have that stuff there. That's kind of how that rolls. You get some information here, things here, and you get to a certain point in the show, and then it's like, dude, this makes sense here. This makes sense why that happened, this, that, and it all comes together and it folds up nice and neat, and it's good, and you know it. That's it, Black Angus. Okay, we might have more discussions or back and forths like this in the future because it is far from over. Black Angus reviews. You hear me? Later.